Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a tale that has lingered in the shadows of martial arts lore for years. A story of two icons whose paths crossed in a way that few could have predicted. Two legends, one undeniable winner. Today we're diving deep into what really happened when Steven Seagal fought Frank Dux. This wasn't a scripted Hollywood blockbuster, or a pay-per-view spectacle under bright lights. No, this was raw, unfiltered, and intensely personal. It all started with a challenge that was never meant to escape the confines of a private conversation. Picture this. Two respected figures in the gritty, underground Los Angeles martial arts scene, exchanging words in a dimly lit dojo. What began as a quiet debate about styles, skills, and supremacy snowballed into an encounter that fans had fantasized about for decades. The burning question on everyone's mind. What would happen if Steven Seagal, the stoic master of Aikido, squared off against Frank Dux, the enigmatic ninja of bloodsport fame? Both men were giants in their own right. Famous, controversial, and brimming with unshakable confidence. But their confidence stemmed from vastly different worlds. Seagal was the embodiment of disciplined power, while Dux was shrouded in mystery and myth. When fate finally aligned to put them on the same mat in front of a hand-picked, silent audience in North Hollywood, the endless argument ceased. The speculation ended. And the fight? It began. This wasn't just any spar. It was a grueling test that pushed both warriors to their absolute limits, with the outcome hanging by a thread until the final, heart-pounding moments. The spectators weren't casual fans. They were experts, insiders who knew every nuance of combat. What they witnessed was a clash not just of bodies, but of philosophies. Control versus chaos, precision versus unpredictability. The warriors, profiles of power and mystery. Let's break down who these two titans really were, because understanding their backgrounds is key to appreciating the depth of this showdown. First, Steven Seagal. Standing at an imposing 6 feet 4 inches, Seagal wasn't just tall. He was a towering presence in every sense. In the martial arts world, he commanded respect with a calm, deliberate demeanor that never seemed hurried or flustered. His training history reads like a martial arts resume from the gods. Years immersed in Japan, where he honed his skills in Iaido, the art of drawing and cutting with a sword, and Aikido, the way of harmonious spirit. Seagal made history as the first foreigner to operate an Aikido dojo in Japan, a feat that spoke volumes about his dedication and prowess. Before stepping into the spotlight as an actor in films like Above the Law and Under Siege, he served as a martial arts coordinator, choreographing fights that emphasized real technique over flashy stunts. His style was all about control, redirecting an opponent's energy, using joint locks to neutralize threats, and maintaining balance in chaos. It wasn't about high-flying kicks or acrobatic flips like you'd see from other movie stars. No, Seagal's approach was grounded, efficient, and devastatingly effective in real-world scenarios. Now contrast that with Frank Dux, a man whose entire persona was wrapped in layers of intrigue and unverified legend. Dux burst onto the scene claiming to have been trained in the ancient, secretive art of Koga Yamabushi ninjutsu, under a master named Senso Tanaka. He spoke of years spent mastering techniques focused on stealth, blinding speed, and surgical precision, skills straight out of a ninja scroll. But it was the 1988 film Bloodsport, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, and purportedly based on Dux's real-life experiences, that catapulted him to fame. The movie depicted Dux competing in the Kumite, a shadowy, no-holds-barred underground tournament where fighters from around the world battled in secret. The closing credits boasted jaw-dropping stats. 56 consecutive knockouts, the fastest knockout in Kumite history at a mere 26 seconds, and over 300 career wins with 0 losses. These numbers ignited imaginations worldwide, but here's the catch. They were never independently verified. In martial arts circles, Dux was a polarizing figure. Some hailed him as a modern-day ninja warrior, while others dismissed his stories as elaborate fabrications. His fame was built on mystique, not mainstream credentials, making him the ultimate wild card. By the late 1990s, both Seagal and Dux were household names in the martial arts community, albeit for polar opposite reasons. Seagal had a proven track record as a legitimate instructor and practitioner, even if his ego and on-screen persona drew criticism. Dux, on the other hand, thrived on the allure of a hidden world. A realm of secret fights and unproven feats that few believed truly existed. On paper, they were destined to collide. The established master versus the controversial enigma. But honestly, no one thought it would ever happen. That is, until a twist of fate brought them together. The setup. From exhibition to epic confrontation. The stage was set at a private martial arts exhibition in North Hollywood. A low-key event far removed from the glitz of celebrity. This wasn't open to the public. There were no tickets sold, no cameras rolling, and certainly no plans for viral footage. The guest list was elite. High-level instructors from various disciplines, seasoned stunt coordinators who orchestrated film fights for a living, and fight choreographers who understood the intricacies of combat better than anyone. The official agenda? To bring together practitioners from different styles, Aikido, ninjutsu, karate, you name it, to demonstrate techniques, share insights, and foster a spirit of exchange. It sounded innocent enough, almost academic. But as the date approached, the atmosphere shifted. Whispers started circulating among the invitees. Steven Seagal and Frank Dux were both confirmed to attend. And neither seemed content with just showing off rehearsed katas or basic drills. Talk of a friendly sparring match began to bubble up. Something informal. A test of skills without the theatrics of a staged bout. The idea alone was electric. Could this really happen? Would these two egos clash in real time? The anticipation built like a storm cloud, charging the air with tension. On the day of the event, Seagal arrived first, dressed in a simple black GI that accentuated his massive frame. He moved with that signature unhurried confidence, greeting a few acquaintances with quiet nods before stepping onto the mat. He stretched methodically, rolling his broad shoulders, his movements economical yet purposeful. At his height, he dominated the space, making the dojo feel smaller, more intimate. Minutes later, Dux entered, clad in a crisp white GI with a black belt cinched tightly at his waist. His eyes were sharp, scanning the room like a predator assessing territory. He exchanged subtle nods with familiar faces, then began warming up with short, crisp bursts of movement, shifting his weight fluidly, bouncing lightly on the balls of his feet. He looked agile, ready to strike like a coiled spring. The two men finally approached each other for a brief handshake. Firm grips, direct eye contact, but no chit-chat. Whatever respect existed between them was silent, tempered by an undercurrent of challenge. It was clear. This wasn't about friendship. It was about proving who was superior. A senior instructor, known for his impartiality and deep knowledge of multiple arts, stepped in as referee. He outlined the rules clearly. Full contact sparring, but with safeguards. No strikes to the head, no intent to cause serious injury, and the match would end either when time expired or when one fighter gained a clear, decisive advantage. Both men nodded in agreement without a second's hesitation. The room hushed. The handful of spectators, maybe 20 at most, leaned forward in their seats, hearts racing. This was it. The moment martial arts enthusiasts had debated endlessly in forums, bars and dojos. The battle, blow-by-blow intensity. As the referee signaled the start, the dojo transformed into an arena of pure focus. Seagal stood upright, his stance open but firmly grounded, hands positioned not to attack first but to intercept and redirect. Dux, ever the contrast, adopted a looser, more mobile posture, weight shifting side to side, bouncing lightly as if ready to vanish in a blur. For the first 10 seconds, they circled each other slowly, gauging distance, reading intentions. No wild swings, no reckless charges, just calculated probing. Dux made the first move, lunging with a quick jab aimed at Seagal's midsection. Seagal angled his body just enough to let it glance off, maintaining his reach advantage. Undeterred, Dux followed with a low kick toward Seagal's shin, testing his base. Seagal absorbed the impact minimally, stepping forward simultaneously to deliver a light palm strike to Dux's chest. A check that forced separation. Eyes locked, they reset. Dux struck again, this time with explosive speed. A jab to the torso, then a hook curving toward the side. Seagal's left arm rose in a fluid block, his right hand catching the hook mid-swing. With a swift twist of his hips, he redirected Dux's momentum into a standing joint lock, bending the smaller man slightly off balance. But Dux was no novice. He twisted free almost instantly, spinning back to his stance with impressive agility. The spectators murmured softly, impressed by the lightning-fast attack and counter. Dux began incorporating feints to mask his true intentions, faking a low kick before snapping a real strike toward Seagal's ribs, then retreating before the giant could close the gap. Seagal remained patient, a rock in the storm, controlling the mat's center and letting Dux expend precious energy on these probing assaults. Then Dux found his opening. Timing his entry perfectly, he slipped inside Seagal's long reach and landed a short, snapping punch to the body, clean, precise, though not devastating. He chained it with another graze to the side before Seagal pivoted away. Seagal's counter was swift. As Dux pressed forward greedily, Seagal's hand darted out, gripping Dux's wrist and yanking him into a sweeping motion. Dux stumbled for a split second but recovered with a quick roll, freeing himself. The fight evolved into a tense rhythm of exchanges, quick, measured, and loaded with psychological warfare. Neither showed frustration, neither betrayed doubt. Halfway through, the pace intensified. Dux launched a feint high before sweeping low at Seagal's lead leg. The sweep connected, forcing Seagal to adjust his footing awkwardly. Seizing the moment, Dux pounced. A short elbow to the ribs, then a palm strike to the chest. Seagal absorbed the blows, stepping back with unchanged expression, but the crowd knew. This was Dux's strongest sequence yet. Seagal ramped up his pressure in response, his footwork becoming more assertive, cutting off Dux's angles and making him circle harder to find space. When Dux attempted another sweep, Seagal anticipated it, stepping around and guiding Dux's balance sideways. It didn't floor him, but it killed his momentum. By now, both men were breathing heavier, sweat beading on their brows and marking the mat with damp footprints. The bursts of action were still sharp, but the pauses between grew subtly longer. Fatigue was setting in, heightening the stakes. A single mistake could end it all. Dux pressed again, sweat glistening under the dojo lights. He feinted a jab to the midsection, then hooked toward the side. Seagal blocked with his forearm, calm as ever, but Dux was already retreating, avoiding entanglement. The onlookers shifted, absorbing every detail. This was skill versus skill, no Hollywood flair. Seagal adjusted, sliding a foot forward, eyes fixed on Dux's chest for tells. Dux kept shifting, hunting for an angle. Suddenly, Dux exploded. A low kick to the thigh, followed by a punch to the ribs. Both landed solidly, drawing a sharp exhale from Seagal. Dux tried an elbow follow-up, but Seagal closed the distance, catching the arm and shoving Dux backward with his superior mass. Dux rolled his shoulder free, pivoting away, quick thinking that earned nods from the crowd. Exchanges shortened. A jab here, a deflection there, forearms clashing briefly before reset. Tension thickened, breaths were held. As the final minutes ticked down, both knew they needed a decider. Dux committed first, unleashing a flurry. Low kick, jab, hook, another kick. Seagal absorbed and parried, but the aggression forced him toward the mat's edge. It looked like Dux's moment, until Seagal's timing flipped the script. Instead of retreating, Seagal stepped in, clamping Dux's wrist with his left hand and pressing the shoulder with his right. A sharp body rotation redirected Dux's energy downward. The takedown was textbook, smooth, controlled. Dux thudded to the mat, back flat. Seagal transitioned seamlessly into a pin, trapping the arm and shoulder, using knee and weight to immobilize. Dux twisted desperately, but the leverage was perfect, no escape. The referee, noting the secure hold and expiring clock, called the bout. The aftermath: victory, respect, and lingering debates. Seagal released instantly, standing and extending a hand. Dux took it, rising to meet his gaze. A simple nod passed between them. No gloating, no animosity, just the quiet acknowledgement of mutual limits pushed. The applause was respectful, subdued. These weren't fans cheering. They were peers appreciating mastery. Officially, Seagal won. His final takedown was clean, decisive, showcasing impeccable timing and control. But as people filed out, conversations buzzed with nuance. Some argued Dux's speed and precise strikes made it razor close, perhaps even tilting in his favor during bursts. Others countered that Seagal's range dictation and shutdowns outweighed those moments. In truth, it was neck and neck, both adapted, Both dominated briefly, but Seagal sealed it on his terms. Legacy. A hidden gem in martial arts history. This bout never went public. No videos, no leaks. It was for that room alone. Yet, over years, the story trickled through circles. A tense, technical masterpiece decided in seconds. For Seagal, it reaffirmed his beyond film skills. For Dux, it validated his ability to challenge a proven icon. For witnesses, it was pure, legends colliding, respect trumping victory. And that's the full story, expanded with every pulse-racing detail. Clocking in at around 13 minutes when narrated at a natural pace, this script captures the essence while building immersion. Which two martial arts legends would you love to see clash if given the chance? Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris? Jackie Chan versus Jet Li? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Subscribe for more untold stories from the world of combat. We'll catch you in the next one.